Welcome back, everybody, to the tour studio here at Burlington Country Club. We're here for session number 6, and that's going to be top of the backswing. Going way back to my first couple sessions, you heard me refer to as half-twos and one-twos. Okay, I don't think there's any, I shouldn't say that. Risk angles are pretty much half-twos, but I'll talk about that briefly in this and then more as we get into downswing. But I think to finish the backswing, if you have a good pivot, okay, you have a good takeaway, I think where you take the club from there can be, up to the individual for the most part. For the most part, okay? I don't want to get into any lengthy description of plane and all that type of thing on the backswing. I'll talk to you about it on the downswing. But backswing, I'm going to let you go from making a good pivot, and wherever your arms go, they go for now. I mean, I don't want to get too much in depth into that, because that could take 9 or 10 sessions, and I don't want to spend too much time on the top of the swing. What I want to do, though, is I want to talk to you about, after you make a correct pivot, which you obviously know how important I think that is, what you should try to do at the top of your swing, finishing the top of the swing. Okay? So let's get into that. So if you remember from last session, okay, we make our takeaway, we make our pivot. Now, to get the club to the top, all I want you to feel like you're doing is turn your upper body, okay? Turn your upper body, and get the club up to the top, wherever the length you can go. Some people can go all the way up here, some people can only go to here, and that's okay. You all have physical limitations, okay? Just because you take the club only to here doesn't mean you can't hit it far. Jon Rahm, hits it as far as anybody. So you can still, with the correct pivot, which he has one of the best I've ever seen, okay, you can still hit it far. So we're going to try to get you from the pivot position to the top of the swing. And the main thing I want to emphasize when we do this is what your left wrist does for a right-handed golfer, what your right wrist does for lefty. So, pivot, we're in a pretty good place right there. What I want you to be aware of going to the top from there is this wrist position right here, okay? We don't want it cupped like this. I see that a lot. A lot, okay? We want it, if anything, we want it more like that. This is called extension. This is called flexion. Flexion's always bad in golf. Well, bunker shots, it's okay, and flop shots. But anything else, you don't want your wrist cupped. You want it to be somewhat extended. If you can picture Jon Rahm, he's like this, extremely extended, one of the reasons he's so long. You can see Dustin Johnson, extremely extended at the top. So those are extremes of an extended left wrist. I'm going to make this brash statement, and you have heard all kinds of fixes for slices. There's really only one correct way to fix it, okay? And that's what your left wrist does as a right-handed golfer. And the more it's in flexion, the less you're going to slice the ball. It's that simple, You could talk about all the other things that you've heard about, reroute the club and blah, blah, blah. All those things might have something to do with creating a better swing, but it's not going to get rid of your slice, okay? It's all in your left wrist. So the most important part of what I call the rest of the backswing, the top of the swing, is control what your lead wrist does. Your left wrist is a righty, your right is a lefty, okay? So as we go back, we pivot, and we flatten that lead wrist. None of this. Extremely important, extremely. I feel strong enough about it is if you practice that for a couple weeks, just go from here, okay, to the top and keep that left wrist flat, okay, you're going to get better. If you're a slicer, you're going to get rid of a slice. And we'll highlight that again when we get into downswing, but that's the key to getting rid of your slice and hitting it further, okay? So I'm going to review that one more time. There's not a lot in this session, but it's important because it teaches you how to control the club face, okay? So, good pelvic tilt, good takeaway, good pivot. Now from here, just remember, back of the left wrist flat, okay? Take it to the top, keep it flat, okay? If you can put it there every time, you can play good golf, okay? So that's number 6. That is top of the backswing, okay? We're going to start the exciting stuff in the next session when we start talking about downswing and how to create some power. So until then, hope we're playing golf soon.